taking a look at multicam editing. Now what we've done with this project is really the pinnacle of everything we could hope to do in digital media technology. We wrote the music, we produced the music, recorded the music, we've come around and mixed the music. Now we all want to try to improve our skills at this. Some people are good at this. I think this is Jake's mix right here with some help from Kira. So we all want to get to where we're able to do this, and right now we're at different levels for different things. So maybe one person could run a camera better than the next, another person can mix better. We're trying to get good at all of this. So this is really the ultimate of what we could hope to do in digital media technology. So let's take a look at this multicam editing and put this thing together and really finish this off. So the first thing we've got is a blank project, an empty project, and we've imported all of our media. We spent a really good time trying to get quality media imported. We've got that beep that sounds off at the beginning. We've got the click track to kind of help us see where things line up together, and that's important. In fact, that's the most important thing. We're going to find out that planning and preparation is what's going to make this thing work in the long run. So I'm going to grab just a few of the clips. I'm not going to get all of the clips because I don't want to spend maybe the time to synchronize all of them, but you'll see what's going on. So I've grabbed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to right click on them and I'm going to select new multicam clip. So we get into this. Now Final Cut Pro is going to want to, I'm going to give it a name. Final Cut Pro is going to want to know, well, how am I supposed to synchronize this? So you may see no custom settings. I'm going to flip out the custom settings. Because each clip is its own angle, I'm going to leave angle assembly at clips because each one is a full take from start to finish. I'm going to leave the angle ordering and synchronization at automatic. I'm going to make sure audio synchronization is checked, and I'm going to leave this where it is, which is going to pull the common features of all of those clips. So if you had a phone on one side and a camera on another, well, Final Cut Pro is going to decide which of those formats to use as the finished product. Click OK, and that'll take just a minute to synchronize. Now we've got that synchronized, and we can tell right away that we have a different clip in here with a little bit different icon. So now you can double click on that, and that gets you into what's called the angle editor. And if we look this thing over, well, here's our original audio file. Let's have a listen to that. And then as we look here, well, we see that's synchronized. That looks good, but this one's knocked out of whack. So we have to grab the position tool and sometimes make some adjustments to these. So in order to slide these things together, I like to park the playhead maybe right at the downbeat of the music and then zoom in with Command plus. And then I can see where this one starts right here, and I need to slide it over a little bit just to line it up. And the reason I move the playhead, I'm going to hit Shift Z to bounce me back out. The reason I move the playhead there is because it's going to zoom into the playhead. So that synchronization looks good. And then if I drag over here, well, this one's out of whack too. So I have to actually give myself a little room by trimming the beginning and then slide that over there. So I'm going to hit that playhead in there. I'm going to zoom in again. I'm going to see right where this could go. Now I could position it with my mouse, or I could use the period and comma keys. They have the little arrows on top of them, kind of the greater than or less than sign, and those move frame by frame. So you can park it and move it frame by frame. So I might listen here. Is that my beep? That's my beep. And I know that's the beep there. So just kind of confirming that everything's lined up. I'm going to listen to one more beep here. There's the beep. Then I know those clicks are lined up there. So this last track down here, hit Shift Z again to get back out. Looks like it's going to give us a bit of a problem. Okay.
Work away.
Alright, so there's that. Now I may use the marker tool. As I hover the mouse here, I hit M, I'm going to put a mark there. That just gives me an idea of where that beginning is approximately, so I know how to find that when I zoom into it. I'm going to park that right over there close to that other beep. I'm going to zoom in like I've done before. I'm going to use the comma key to bump that back one frame at a time. Maybe even slide the playhead in there, use that as an alignment tool, so that way you can see it's lined up. Now Shift Z fills in the timeline. I can get over here and I can adjust the heights of these, so maybe I could see all of them at the same time. That gives you an idea. Alright, so what we've done now is we've defined the angles. We've lined them up, we've tidied up the work that Final Cut Pro did, and now we're ready to do our multicam edit. So let's get out of this angles editor. Remember, we got into that by double clicking. We'll get out of the angles editor by hitting the back button, or we could have opened our project. Okay, so those are the same things. I'm in the angle, I can double click and open the project. So now the angle editor is gone, or I could jump back to it with the kind of like a web browser arrows here. I could jump back and forth there. So here's my angle, and I'm just going to drag it straight into the timeline. And we see right here is where the music starts, so I'm going to go ahead and just drag the beginning of this over here, and then now I need to see the angles in the viewer. So go to the view menu, show in viewer, and then select angles. Another thing I want to do is I want to go into the workspace and I want to hide the browser. I'm done with the browser for now. I want to give myself a little bit more room to see those angles. So I'm going to hide the browser. I got to remember how to get all that stuff back. Browser there, view. Okay, so you're going to find either of those in the view and window screens. That's pretty straightforward. Now we've got our angles over here. We've got the clip in the timeline, our multicam clip, and we've got the end result we're going to be able to see over here in the viewer. Let's take a look at the settings that we have in the angles viewer. Well, we've got more than just 4 angles, so I need to select 9. That's going to give me a 3x3 grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's my 7 angles. One of these is just audio. We'll talk about that in just a second. So know that you can change the setting there on the display, and you could even change this if you had named the camera something specific. You could change the name there. Now we're going to look at the editing tools here. There's 3 choices. There's a video and audio button, there's just a video button, and there's an audio button. So that's what those little icons mean, and what that is telling us is that when we have those selected, that's what's going to be cut when we click on the blade tool. That's the edit that's going to take place. I'm using that word cut to mean an edit. So we have an audio file that starts the beginning. So if for some reason we were on a different angle, well, this is the audio file that we want. So I would click the audio button and I would click our original audio file. That takes me to frame 1, and that leaves me at the original audio. For now, I want to leave that the way it is from here until the end of the piece. So I'm going to click just the video icon, and now as it plays out, I'm going to hit the space bar, and as it plays out, I'm going to click on these pictures like I am directing a live production. Now before we try that, I do want to do one thing which might help this project play back a little bit faster. I'm going to go to the view menu, and I'm going to select this option down here called proxy. And it's quite possible that you might not have this proxy media if you didn't have your original Final Cut Pro import settings set up to create proxy media. So if you haven't done that, that's okay. It just means you have to pop open the browser real quick, select all of these files, and then go up to the file menu, choose transcode media, and then you would want to click on create proxy media. Well, I've already got all the possible media I could hope for, so I don't need to do that, but you might need to do that if you want to try this proxy media playback, which will help your file play back a little bit better. So I'm going to play it back and just do a real rough edit. Okay, so I just went through the whole project. As I went, I clicked. It's really kind of fun and probably about the easiest way you can edit, but remember, it takes a lot of time and preparation at the beginning in order to get it set up so that you can do that edit really smoothly. Now if you want to, you can get into each of these edits and you see they're just a dotted line, so that's letting us know that it's not an edit the way we're used to. You can do what's called a roll edit to adjust the position between the two. You can select them. You can get all sorts of options by right-clicking and change the active angle. Really, this is just the surface of it, and now we've got ourselves a pretty rough cut and we're ready to get in and make it really pop.